pain. The two kids wouldn't last one day out in the Scorch.
You guys don't have to come with me. I know we can make it.
The escapees of the maze make their way out into a vast desert known as the Scorch, battling the elements and finding a safe haven from the organization known as Wicked.
The good.
The things that were good about the first movie are still present in this one. The performances feel instinct-driven, and now there's a little more emotional investment now that we really know these characters. A great deal of mystery continues to push the story along, and the movie has an aesthetic to it that doesn't feel quite as polished and insanely calculated as some other movies do, which for the purposes of the story for this movie feels like a very authentic aesthetic for it. There's a certain dynamic introduced into the story in this movie that blurs the line of morality, and while my head is pretty clear on this sort of thing, I have to say the movie did make me think about it at least a little bit, and I give it props for that. While the dynamics of the action in this movie are a bit different than they are in the first movie, the tone of it still feels the same. And the best part about that action is it feels a bit more realistic due to how quick and on the ball the characters have to react to certain things. There is also one scene in particular in this movie that portrays the effects of disorientation really, really well.
The iffy.
In terms of telling the story and the situation the characters are in, not a whole lot of new information is revealed in this movie. For the most part, I consider that a good thing, because while it doesn't allow the story to grow too much from where it initially ended in the first movie, it does allow you to jump easily into the sequel after watching the first movie.
The bad.
Earlier in this review, I mentioned good elements from the last movie. Seeing them pop up again is nice, but after a while, it can kind of feel like a lot of the same. You'll find that the characters are in a similar set of circumstances many times in a row during the course of this movie. And while I do understand that it's just the way the story is constructed and that's just how it goes, this movie feels like it has the plot of a more atypical action movie than its predecessor did.
The verdict?
I'm 2 movies into this franchise, and so far it's still got me hooked. There's a few bumps along the way, it's not the most amazing thing you've ever seen, but all in all, this movie has it where it counts. This is Detective Steve, looking forward to the third Maze Runner, which will not be split into 2 parts.